We tend to think of memory as something deeply personal, right? Like our own private movie reel playing inside our heads. But what if it's bigger than that? What if an entire community could share a memory that stretches back across centuries? Today, we're going to explore this incredible idea of collective memory, this fascinating way that groups create a shared past that can last for millennia. So, this brings us to a really captivating puzzle. How can a whole community truly remember an event that happened thousands of years ago, like the Exodus from Egypt? I mean, no one alive today was there. There are no photographs, no videos, nothing like that. It's more than just history. It's a kind of collective mental time travel. And I want to unpack how that actually works. Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we first need to look at what memory actually is from a psychological point of view. It turns out memory isn't just one single thing. Modern psychology tells us there are at least three different types, and understanding them is the key to unlocking how a community can build a memory that spans generations. First up, we have what's called semantic memory. The easiest way to think about this is like your brain's own personal encyclopedia. It's filled with facts. Knowing that the Exodus from Egypt occurred, well, that's semantic memory. It's the what of memory, just the information without a lot of personal feeling attached. It's the kind of stuff you'd find in a textbook. Then we have episodic memory, and this one is completely different. This is your personal highlight reel. The key word here is reliving. It's not just knowing a fact, it's that rich, emotional feeling of being there. It's your own personal mental time travel back to a specific moment. This is where memory becomes a story, full of sights, sounds, and feelings. And finally, there's procedural memory. I like to call this body memory. This is the how-to memory. Think about riding a bike. You don't consciously think through every single step, do you? Your body just knows what to do. The same goes for performing a familiar ritual. It's memory in action, embedded in our muscles. So if a community wants to truly remember an event like the Exodus, they need more than just the semantic fact that it happened. They need a way to create a shared experience, something that feels like a collective episodic memory, something that engages their procedural memory. But how in the world do they do that? Well, it turns out the answer lies in ritual. Rituals are this incredible tool for turning abstract history into a lived sensory reality. They're almost like a technology of memory. They build a bridge that takes us from simply knowing about the past to actually experiencing it together. This process has a name: actualization. And it's all about making the past present. Through a ritual, a community doesn't just sit around and listen to a story about something that happened long ago. They actively participate in it. They feel its weight and its wonder. They bring the past right into the here and now. The biblical scholar Brevard S. Childs put it just perfectly. He said, remembrance equals participation. Let that sink in for a second. It's a really profound shift in thinking. To remember isn't just to look back at something far away. It's to become part of the story yourself. And the Jewish Passover Seder is just a masterclass in this kind of actualization. It's a meal that literally makes you taste history. You eat the bitter herbs to physically experience the bitterness of slavery. You dip your food in salt water to taste the tears of your ancestors. These aren't just abstract symbols. They are powerful, physical, sensory triggers for memory. And what's so incredible is that this ancient tradition lines up perfectly with modern psychology. We now know that our senses, especially our sense of taste and smell, are hardwired directly to the emotional and memory centers in our brain. So these rituals are using that deep biological connection to create a shared emotional experience, a collective form of mental time travel to the very heart of the past. Okay, so rituals can bring the past to life, but how do you make that memory stick? How do you make it last for centuries, for thousands of years? Well, you have to anchor it somehow. You have to set it in stone, both literally and figuratively. There's this amazing story in the book of Joshua. After the ancient Israelites crossed the Jordan River, they're instructed to build a memorial out of 12 large stones. Now, this wasn't just a monument to look at. It was designed to be a memory trigger, a physical anchor for the story that would last for all future generations. And the whole point of these stones, it was to spark a question. The text says they were built so that one day, children would look at them and ask, "What are these stones?" They were designed to be a prompt for conversation, a way to make absolutely sure the story would be told and retold from one generation to the next.
And of course, memorials aren't always physical things you can touch. A shared story can be just as powerful, if not more so. A narrative like the story of the Exodus itself, or a more modern example like the graphic novel Mouse, which tells the story of the Holocaust, can be an incredibly powerful memorial, helping a community process a traumatic past and preserve its meaning. So, when you pull it all together, why does this matter so much? Why do communities work so hard to remember these things together? Well, the answer is both simple and incredibly profound. It's because memory is identity. You see, collective memory is really the glue that holds a community together. It's what turns a collection of I's into a we. It's what transforms a dry list of historical facts into our story. By remembering a shared past, both the triumphs and the traumas, a group defines who they are, where they've come from, and where they're going. The theologian Miroslav Volf said something that really sticks with me. He wrote, "We do not live with the events that make up our lives. Rather, we exist with the stories that we tell ourselves about these events." And I think that's so true. In the end, we are the stories we choose to remember and tell. So it's really important to understand that collective memory isn't about creating a perfect, dusty photograph of the past. It's not a static thing. It's a living, breathing process. A community is always choosing what to remember and how to remember it as a way of defining itself right here in the present. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What are the memorial stones in your own life, in your family, in your community? They might not be actual stones. They might be a holiday, a family recipe, a song. What are they? And what story do they tell? What identity do they ask you to carry forward?